Welcome back to the Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation, where we explore key issues and compelling stories in the trucking industry. I'm your host, Dayton Rumbold, and you're listening to episode 105, The Art of Having a Good Time, with Matt Gordon. Matt's a driver manager here at Nussbaum, and he interacts with lots of drivers, and he always has a smile with him. And in this episode, he talks about how not to take yourself too seriously and how to enjoy life and your work. So there's a lot that we can learn from Matt and his life, and I hope that you learn from him too. So please tune in to this featured exchange. Today we have Matt Gordon, Matt G, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend.
Far from, but thank you.
Do you got any nicknames? Do you
Gordy. Gordy or Gordo. That's what's really caught on here, so I'm down with either.
Okay. Did you have that nickname before?
Yeah, in high school, yeah.
Okay. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, so this was something that came out that we had many people who were looking at ideas on who to have on the podcast, and a lot of people had some great things to say, about you and just in general. And I was talking to Tyler Thompson, about you, and he was like, what do I need to know about Matt Gordon? He's like, well, you need to know that he's a really good chess player. So Matt, to start here, I have one thing to say to you. Rook to b5.
Checkmate.
Do you feel like you're pretty good at chess?
I'm okay. Yeah, I played in high school. My best friend played when we were growing up, and I got onto it my sophomore year of high school. Mm-hmm. And it's really something I didn't expect to go as far as it did, but I really latched onto it, and I love the game. Yeah. I love how every game is completely different.
Right.
There's no two that'll be similar. There's no two that will ever be similar. And I think that's why it's intriguing to me. Mm-hmm.
Can you play a game in your head? Like if you someone was started to tell you that?
I go back and forth with a few people and play on different apps and things like that. And you try to think ahead a few four moves or what have you, but I'm not advanced by any stretch of the imagination. I just enjoy it for the fun.
Okay, great. So to begin, let's get some experience on who you are generally, how you got the Nussbaum, you know, any background on your family. Yeah. It'd be great to know what you're doing at Nussbaum.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of drivers are connected. I mean, how many drivers do you have?
We got 32 on our board currently. Full disclosure, again, we talked about this a little bit, but Dayton came up to me. It was probably at this point a couple weeks ago and said, hey, would you be interested in doing something like this? And I thought about looking around the room because I was like, there's no way he's asking. He's definitely looking for a different Matt or somebody like that. But I appreciate it very much. Yeah. I grew up around Champaign, Mahomet Seymour area, and lived there for most of my life. Ended up gravitating towards Bloomington, Normal, and Peoria area after that for school. It's been really great. I love the area here. I've always liked the Peoria area, the Bloomington area. Yeah. So it's somewhere where I really wanted to stick around for the most part. My family, I met my wife 16 years ago now. Wow. And we've been married for 14 years last August. Met her when I went to ISU for a short bit of time. And it was one of those kind of classic love at first sight type of deals.
Wow.
We were engaged after 7 months. I knew from pretty much the start that she would be the one. And luckily she felt the same way. Yeah. So it's been amazing. She's my absolute best friend in the world. We live in Eureka now, so we moved a couple different places. We've lived in El Paso. We moved to Burlington, Iowa for a couple years for a short stint with my previous company, and then we moved back into the area around 2015 and have been in here ever since.
Wow. Yeah.
So, we currently live in Eureka. We've got 3 kids. Max, our oldest, he's 11, so he's our only son. And then we've got a daughter, Tessa. She's 6, and we just had Ren, who is going to be 11 months here in November.
Okay. Wow, 11 months. I mean, and even thinking how you met your wife, it seems like that was pretty interesting. Were you both still in school, like when you got married, or
no.
when you got engaged? I meant.
Yeah, we were still in school when we got engaged, but we were out by the time we got married. Nowadays, it seems a little bit more dicey, but we met randomly over Facebook. So it was before all the catfishing and things like that, because this is, early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Wow.
So you expected to meet the person that you looked at online or what have you. But it was very random. She added me one day, and I didn't really think anything about it because she went to Heartland and I was going to ISU at the time. And I let it go for a week or so because I just thought maybe she saw the wrong person, what have you. So I started looking through her items, and it's like, wow, I mean, she had a lot of things that I was looking for. I mean, she talked about wanting to be a great mother to children one day, and just had a lot of views and values that lined up with what I was looking for. So I decided to reach out and I said, hey, I just said, is there a certain reason you added me? And I think she said it was something like a mistake. It just like happened that way. Yeah. Like she didn't really mean to, but we started talking after that by any means. And it turned out, turned out into this
16 years later.
16 years later, still going strong.
That's awesome.
It's very, very random.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then just those values is really what drew.
100%. From a young age, I've always been that type of person that wanted to settle down early if I could. Not necessarily looking for it all the time, but it just happened to be that way. And have kids and start a family. I mean, they're the most important things in the world to me. So that was something, with her wanting to be a mom, and she's been a stay-at-home mom now for probably just over 13 years or so. 12, 13 years. So it's, everything I've done has allowed her to do that, which is amazing.
And can you refresh me on the ages of your kids again?
Yeah, so 11, 6, and then 11 months.
Okay, crazy.
Yeah, so a pretty wide range. Just happened to work out that way. But, I think at a certain point when you're younger parents, you think, oh, they're fairly spread apart, maybe they'll get along better, and that's not always the case, but it keeps it fresh and makes it fun. We have a great time.
To keep you guys young.
Absolutely. Trying to while we can.
That's awesome. So how long have you been at Nussbaum?
Be 8 months this month.
8 months. That's awesome. Great. And what'd you do before Nussbaum for work?
Yeah, great question. So I was a sales manager at Denver Mattress, part of Furniture Row, for almost 13 years.
Oh, wow.
So I started as a sales rep. They have a pretty quick promotion program. So I was there for about a year, got promoted to assistant manager in our same store here in Normal. And then just under a year later, I ended up becoming store manager, and that's when we moved to Burlington, Iowa. So with those types of places, they kind of have it set up where they prefer you to move around the country just to see different things and experience different people's aspects of stores and how they run stores and things like that. So moved out there for a bit, and then my old boss left Normal, and they asked me if I wanted to come back since this is where we were from, basically, and I jumped at that, and we'd been there up until 8 months ago. Wow.
So what were you doing? Like, what was your role at Furniture Row?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I mean, your 100% goal is to sell as much as you can. Obviously, it's a sales-oriented environment. It's commission-based, so that's how you make your living. But you're responsible for, the hiring, for the inventory, for everything that's below you. Training, computer systems, all that stuff. So you're responsible for nearly everything that comes in and out of there. So I think that was a good precursor to this, with this type of environment. At Nussbaum, you're responsible for your drivers, kind of everything that happens, and being responsible for that. And that kind of prepped me for this, which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a close connection with that.
Yeah, very much so. Absolutely. But it's been wonderful. I'm very, very thankful to be here. I feel very lucky to have been given the position that I've come to be in, and I'm super grateful for it.
That's awesome. And then outside of work, time outside of work, what's that look like?
Yeah. Now that the weekends are free, forever my days off were Thursdays and Fridays. So going to Saturdays and Sundays is a good but different transition.
Right.
But we do a lot of the same. Our family always comes first. So whatever we need to do at home, chores wise, try to help out as much as I can just with having the younger ones there. But we just like to do things as a family. We're pretty home buddies, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Like it's rare we go out, but we just like to hang out and have a good time.
Yeah. We hang out at home mostly.
Absolutely, yeah. There's not a whole lot going on. If we do, it's more, the nicer time of year, of course, when you can go outside or go to the park or whatever with the kids. But other than that, we just kind of stay in and keep to ourselves.
Cool.
We try not to get in too much trouble.
Right, yeah. Build a fort in the backyard or
absolutely,
something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it snowed a couple weeks ago, so we were outside for that and built a snowman and things like that. So, that's what I love best about our family is, like I said, we think the same. So, both my wife and I like to stay at home. That's kind of our safe space. So, other than that, going out is just pretty rare.
Yeah, great. And then going to the content a little bit of the episode. So we got a general feel, of who Matt Gordon is. But there is the piece about like who you are, like what do you think about? And so a little bit deeper, when we talk to people about Matt and who he is, and something people said is like helping hand. You have a very contagious spirit. Like it's hard to be down around you. Like, if you're having a bad day, they're like, hey, just, talk to Matt. And that's a great thing when you're talking to drivers. It's like to be able to have that contagious spirit of like, okay, like it's, it's easy to get into myself, whatever I got going on in my life. Everyone has something they have going on. But how do you do that? Would you agree with those things that people say? It's okay if you don't.
First off, it's very kind.
Right.
I'm not sure who is the hands behind getting me here today, but I appreciate it. It means a lot. It definitely is something I don't take lightly, for sure. I feel like I've always had that, positive glass half full type of mentality for the most part.
Yeah.
Where it stems from, it's hard to say. I just feel like I've always been that type of person that's, wanted to have fun and have a good time. Growing up, we came from parents that it was a good childhood growing up, but they ended up divorced and they tended to fight a lot. And when you had kind of brought this to me, it made me kind of look back and think about things that may have led to your personality changing one way or the other because of it.
Right.
And it was okay. It happened for a reason, and that is what it is. But I feel like after being through something like that or seeing things like that, it definitely brings a whole different light on life. Like it's just, I've always had this not laissez-faire attitude to it, but there's nothing that serious that should drag you down, where it just ruins everything about your day, about your week, what have you. There's so many things that you can be grateful for, so many things every day that you're just lucky to be here.
Yeah,
it makes a huge difference.
Do you do stuff to help you like remind yourself of that? Like part of it sounds like it's a part of your character, just the way you grew up and stuff like that. But nothing consciously, at least. I think it's a credit to a lot of the people that have been around me in the past and that are here for sure. A lot of the people at Nussbaum, if not every single one, shares a lot of the same characteristics and values. And I think it's wonderful. So it's really easy to spin around and talk to the person that's next to you or talk to the person that's behind you and have a fun time doing it. Right.
You can be helpful, you get your work done, things that are needed to be completed. But after that, it's like talking to your best friend. There's people that you meet, especially coming into something new. I'd been doing something for so long and was so comfortable in a certain role that it was a little bit of a change coming in here, and 2 people, 3 people, and that's it,
Yeah.
But that's a credit towards the people that they hire here and everyone here. Everyone wants to help you feel comfortable and does a really, really great job of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
makes a huge difference, and it's something that I really, really value.
Yeah, and something I noticed too, like when just talking to you about this was like, oh yeah, like I'd be willing to do that. You know, you're like, I'll hop in and
Why not?
I'll try it out.
Like you said, you live once, you may as well try it out, see what happens.
Right.
But it is, there's a lot of things in people's lives that kind of lead them one way or the other. Mm-hmm. And it makes a big impact. Mm-hmm. Up until recently, aside from, a few family members, maybe one or a few people here, it's not something that I really broadcast, but I've seen a few of the episodes, and mm-hmm. I really appreciate the people that open up about it. Mm-hmm. But I lost my brother 6 years ago, and that's huge. A lot of people can take that different ways and turn it into something really bad, or something that spins out of control.
Right.
And I've tried to take that and just appreciate the time that we had, and it's like, you're here once.
Right.
Why not enjoy it while you're here?
Right. Yeah.
And that was something that's definitely really hard, and people can go certain ways with that.
Right. Yeah. I can't imagine. Going through that, and but to be able to not go cynical. Just being able to look at the time that you did have with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And just appreciate what you have now and what you have left. Mm-hmm. There's no reason not to wake up and be appreciative of it. So it's been, it's definitely, I've always had it, seems like from youth, but that just further reinforced the fact and really drilled it home that
what happened to you was for a reason.
Yeah, right? In a certain sense. You feel like it. Yeah,
and thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate you just opening up. And I think that's helpful because other people have gone through similar experiences.
Yeah. And I've learned, you can't blame people for how they cope and things like that. People in my family, took it and ran different ways with it. But I feel like from everything that comes of it, you should be thankful for what you have every day.
Yeah. No, it's probably made you, it looks like you're seeing more things to be grateful.
Absolutely.
For.
100%.
Yeah. That's it's a really great thing that I think that I can learn from.
No, it's all part of it for sure.
Yeah. Great. No, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah, something that we do in each episode is talk about what it means to be purpose-driven.
Absolutely.
So for you, what would it look like to be purpose-driven, or what does it mean to be purpose-driven?
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple different ways you can take it. Personally, my main focus for the last 16 years has been my family. Everything I've done as far as work goes, as to what careers I've done and chosen, and my effort in that is all for them. 100%. You wake up every day and you think about the people that matter most to you and that are most important.
Right.
And I think about them. I come here and work hard every day and try to get everything done that I can for them and to make a better life for them. I think professionally, it's about setting goals that are attainable, that are reachable, trackable, things you can physically see, coming in with a certain mindset every day. Hey, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to help others around me. This is how I want to help and help other people grow. Is a big difference for sure. But you see it with a ton of people here. Everybody has a really, really great and positive motive behind themselves, and we're all we're coming together to do the same thing. But each position we're coming at it from different angles and different ways. So you do get tripped up a little bit sometimes on how those all come together. But it's part of the puzzle and it's part of the process, and it makes it. I think it makes it quite a bit more fun than everything just going smooth.
Right. Everyone has their own way of doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking a little bit about what you were saying about your family and just the way you really value your family. It seems like you place that really high.
Definitely.
And I was talking to a friend who says that he meets with his son. He goes out every week to a coffee shop just to, get, coffee with, and I think he's really little. So he probably just orders like a cinnamon roll.
Absolutely.
Like, he's little.
That's a blast.
He does that. I was like, my first thought was like, wow, that's a lot of work. Like, how do you like have the time or like focus? Like, how do you do that? Like each week and then also how impactful that would be for his son to be able to do that. And I asked him about it. I was like, how do you do that? And he said that it was the loss of a family member, and that he thought back to all the times when he missed out on stuff, and he said that could have drawn him to regret, but he said that I try not to let it lead me to regret, but instead let it take me to action. So it's like for all those things that I wished I had, and I really identify with that, and everyone has some type of regret, like for something.
Absolutely.
And instead of letting that lead us to like despair, letting it lead us to action for like the current things.
Absolutely.
And it seems like that's something that is big in your life, of like really valuing relationships, and letting that be like, okay, I'm going to lead that to the action for the relationships that I have now.
Yeah.
And really placing,
absolutely
good emphasis on that.
That's a huge point. I mean, so many people can look back and just kind of stew and fester on something like that. Whereas if you're in the now and you look forward and think about things that you could do to change your future, to impact somebody else's,
right,
those things mean a lot, especially taking the time out of your day to be with one specific person or one specific child, different times.
Yeah.
Those are things I think you look back on as you get older.
Right. Yeah, totally.
And remember about your parents or what have you. And you say, hey, we went out. You remember this time we went out here? You remember this time we did that? And the time together is super valuable, but the time individually with our kids is super valuable too. So I think what he did, and I mean, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, he's far, past anything that I've done, but just thinking that it's simple relationships, just those simple investments, whatever it is, just, being able to talk, or, I think something now too is with focus, with our phones, it's easy to get drawn away. And so being able to,
definitely
have a conversation with someone, and that's a great way to be giving. Like right now, like you're giving to me, like, and just before, like, we did this episode, when you talk to other people, like you're focused on, what they're saying, and that's a great way to, give to other people. And
absolutely, I agree. It helps create memories, things you're going to look back on, say, wow, I did that, or we did that together. And those are the things that you're going to keep and hold on to most, I feel like. So I think that's amazing. Yeah.
Relationships will last.
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about purpose-driven. In life, like, what are you most excited about right now? What do you got going on? You got any big trips? Do you traveling trips, or what gets you pumped?
Kids are excited for Christmas. I'll tell you that.
They're pumped.
Absolutely, yeah. We do. Up until we had Ren, our youngest, we would usually do a Florida trip every year and take the kids and drive down there and have a great time. But with her getting adjusted to the car and things like that, we've put that off for a little bit. Yeah. But hopefully next year sometime we'll end up going down. Yeah. They have a blast going down there. They do really, really well in the car. The older ones do. So we'll drive down there, usually stay for about a week. So just being together, we usually just rent an Airbnb, stay at the beach or what have you. Yeah. We went to Cincinnati last fall, and that was really cool. We kind of picked somewhere none of us had ever been before. Yeah. And that was fairly close, and had a really, really good time right before we had Ren. So that was a blast. But as far as excitement, I mean, right now, we've just been getting everything ready for Christmas and get-togethers and things like that. So I said we don't do a whole lot of outside stuff, but just try to keep it to ourselves for the most part. Yeah.
What do you guys like to do for your house? Like, do you put like big lights on the outside?
We don't have a ton, but we've got a little bit. Yeah. We do a little bit outside, and then we took a whole day a couple weeks ago and put all the Christmas stuff out. Ren started crawling, so we had to take most of the stuff off the floor. Everything's kind of at a higher point than it usually is nowadays for safety reasons. But it's great. I mean, it's definitely a wonderful time of year, and it good time to reminisce on things and be thankful. And they're super excited. I can't wait.
For sure.
I think the giving part of it is the most fun, just to see their faces.
To give to them.
Absolutely.
And see what they do.
See their faces when they get up and how pumped they are. Because you remember that as kids, you know. I remember having restless nights, you know, Christmas Eve, because you just couldn't sleep. You're so pumped for it.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. It's a lot more fun on this side of it.
Do you guys do any other like traditions part of it? Like, do you have them put out the cookies and milk or like?
Yeah, definitely. They know. I don't know how much I want to get into this, but they know where the things actually come from. So the cat's been out of the bag for quite some time. I didn't want to lead them down a path that could turn sour. But yeah, we still do the same things, and you know, Christmas Eve get together just at our house the night before and just hang out and you know, watch the Grinch or whatever, have a good time.
No, that's sweet. And then what is your guys' ideal day at the beach? Ideal day at the beach.
All day there.
All day. Show up.
All day, absolutely. Show up in the morning, just hang out for the entire day. We usually go down to a place in Northeast Florida. It's called Crescent Beach, and stay there. And it's a beautiful area. It's on the Atlantic side, and it's just everything that I could dream of being down there, you know, and just hang out, let them play, have a good time, get in the water. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Yeah. But I think if you can spend most of your day there, you're sitting in a lot better boat than you could be anywhere else.
Yeah, bring the food, you know.
Absolutely.
Hang out there.
Yeah, bring a cooler, have your food, drinks, lunch ready, what have you, and be good to go for the day.
Yeah, and then go home and go to bed and
100%
do it again.
Run it back. We're beach bums at heart. For
That's
sure.
Cool.
So you'll never find us in downtown Chicago or do anything down there. We like to find a quieter place and just be to ourselves for the most part.
Just relax.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. Another question I had on here, looking at a little bit deeper, what's the best advice you've ever gotten? If there's a piece of advice that someone's ever mentioned to you that really just stuck out and it's like, hey, this has been really helpful. Do you feel like you got anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely quite a few things I've learned more on professional side of things, like management as you get into it. Something that I was always stuck out to me is there's two sides to every story. In management, you get caught up in between a lot of different things.
Right.
Here as well, as it's definitely translated, but when you oversee people and oversee, you know, customers, you know, delivery department, things like that, you have a ton of things that, you know, can get haywire too. So understanding that it's not necessarily one-sided all the time is something that my old boss always drilled into me, and it's kind of stuck with me. You need to get everybody's perspective, and then the truth is usually, for the most part, going to lie somewhere in the middle. Between those two stories. Typically never going to figure it out 100% completely, but it'll fall somewhere in that neck of the woods, and then it's up to you to make your best judgment from there. So more on the professional side of anything, but it applies very directly to here too, and it's good advice to use. You know, you don't know. You know, you could have somebody be late somewhere, for instance, and then you call in and something's happened to a parent, something's happened to a family. They're not necessarily doing it, you know, with malicious intent. And there's always that time that you need to reach out. Maybe you call and you need to be an ear for them to lean on. You know, you have no idea what you're walking into. So I think kind of taking everything with a grain of salt until you get to the root of the problem is also something that's pretty good as well.
It's big. I mean, we just see the tip of the iceberg.
100%.
Like, we don't know everything that's going on, but we tell ourselves stories about what it is. Like, oh, I bet it's probably this.
100%.
But it's.
And if you've been in crucial conversations, I just went through that, and Bill Wetstein, he did an amazing job. Super great guy. But that was a blast. And it's 100% about, hey, this scenario happens. What do you feel is behind it? You know, it's separating the facts from what actually happened to the stories that you start telling yourself in your head. Somebody shows up late somewhere, you're telling yourself, you know, X, Y, Z, when it could be something completely out of their control, something different, you know, so.
And being able to give someone the benefit of the doubt
100%
is like a great thing.
Absolutely.
Like, I like giving guy, Brad, mentioned that, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's like, to be generous, you can be generous by giving the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
That's been something that stuck out to me. It's like, how do you do that?
Yes.
How do you give someone the benefit of the doubt?
Is great advice.
Yeah.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. It's hard to do.
A few all of those things for sure, but I think they apply, in people's personal lives, but can also be very professional too. Yeah.
Has anything been surprising to you in the trucking industry? Anything you didn't really realize until getting into it? What have been some of the things that have stuck out to you about that?
There's a lot to it for sure. I think the things that have most stuck out are all the laws behind it. At some point, at a certain point in time, it's amazing for me to think that somebody or some group of people sat down and made every DOT law that you could ever have known to man that you can and cannot do,
right?
And stipulations and things like that. And that's wild to me. I mean, there's so much to it. It's unbelievable.
Really?
And it's definitely a learning curve to start to understand how all that works and how it translates into, all of our drivers, every day in their lives, and trying to help them the best we can as well. I think the equipment part of it too is amazing.
Yeah.
There's so much behind it. Now you kind of look around, you're on the road, you see one of our trucks, and then you compare it to the next one that rolls up.
Right.
You're like, man, ours is very, very nice.
Right.
It's so well taken care of.
Yeah.
They're all in such good shape compared to some of the other things you see out there. And that's just a credit to how the shop keeps it up, how the drivers keep it up. I mean, they do a really amazing job.
Yeah.
And I'd say lastly, the people that are involved with it too. We're all coming from different walks of life.
Right.
Entering the same type of building to have the same goals and the same mindset. And our drivers are amazing too. They work so hard and they do such a good job. And it's impossible for us, as much as we want to put ourselves in that situation unless you've absolutely done it. And just being sympathetic and apathetic to everything that they're going through every day would be something big too.
Good. Yeah. Do you feel like you've been able to enter that world a little bit, being able to understand what a driver experiences and on the road?
Attempting to, absolutely. The ride along definitely helped. That most everyone did, but I mean, on an everyday basis, it's just hard to fathom.
Right.
And it's all a credit to the drivers and how they perform every day. I mean, it's amazing. It really is amazing to me what they do and how hard they really work. And I think, some of them, it's kind of funny because they'll call in and they'll say something to the effect of, well, you're the one helping us out and doing all this stuff. I was like, dude, I'm not doing anything. I push buttons and that's it. They're doing all the heavy lifting and the grinding every day, getting up early, being out late. I mean, it really is incredible to me, and I respect them very, very much so because of that, because that's not a side of the industry that I saw before coming here.
Yeah. Huh. Wrapping up on the content. So I think I covered most of the things I wanted to go over.
Awesome.
But is there anything else you would like to share to people listening? Any of your drivers, anyone, family listening? Is there anything you would like to share about?
Yeah, I mean, to my family, especially my wife, I feel super thankful for her sticking with me. 13 years at one place and going somewhere else was a huge career defining moment for us. I'm not the type of person that jumps around or has, a bunch of different jobs. So I was very thankful that this Nussbaum very much lined up with our goals and our values and was somewhere where I felt like I could step into and then I can spend the next 30 years here and retire. Because as long as they'll have me, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, great.
And I appreciate her, being so open to doing what was going to be, right for me and what's going to make me happy at the end of the day and be best for our family. So I think that was awesome.
Yeah.
Because that was a huge moment for us. And to all of our drivers and all of my drivers, again, I respect you immensely. Again, I know what they do day in and day out. And I tell myself this every day, but the But the drivers that I have, particularly on my board, I just feel super thankful for. I don't know how it could have lined up where all of our personalities seem to gel very well together.
Cool.
And that's a big credit to them, being open to getting to know me and vice versa, and trusting me with a lot of everything they do. So I appreciate them trusting me, and I hope they feel the same way.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference that we can communicate the way we do, and it means the world to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so hopefully any of your drivers listening get a better idea of who you are, outside of work. And
A little bit.
I heard you're a Titans fan. Is that true? You
big time.
into football?
Yes, very much so.
Cool.
Yeah, something I kind of latched onto at a younger age and just took it and ran. But a little bit tougher year this year. But there's always next year for sure.
Yeah.
But I do. I love football. I love fantasy football. Like, aside from direct family things, that's a big time of year, football time of year,
right?
And golfing, and that's pretty much it. That's the only things that I get into.
Right. What do they say? Roll Titans? Is that
it's
right?
Roll Tide for
Roll
Alabama.
Tide. Oh.
Close enough. They're in the college semifinals. So
okay.
Close enough.
Right. What do you say for Titans?
Titans, tighten up.
Tighten up.
Tighten up.
Tighten up. Cool. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Been to any of their games?
Just recently, so credit on this one to Tyler Thompson. He grew up in the Indy area, and he has a buddy that works at Lucas Oil Stadium for the Indianapolis Colts.
No way.
And he was definitely gracious enough, because the Colts and Titans are somewhat rivals, same division. He and Tyler was gracious enough to reach out to him and get us tickets out there. And I mean, it was an unbelievable experience.
No way.
It was the first Titans game I'd ever been to, and I really appreciate him asking, and his buddy for being open to it for sure.
Cool.
So that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Huge.
Yeah, the game was pretty good.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was great seats, great time. Couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, that's sweet. Hopefully you get to go again sometime.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. At the end of this episode, we're going to do a little segment here. This is going to be a new segment about hot takes.
Okay.
So have you heard about hot takes?
Not as much, no.
Okay, so
Hit me with it.
It's a controversial statement that you either agree or disagree with.
Okay, no in between.
No in between. You gotta
No
commit
waffling.
or no waffling. You gotta disagrry with it. All right.
I can do it.
So I have a list of them. Some of them are trucking related.
Okay.
Some of them are not. They're just general. So I'm going to read them off, and then you can tell me if you agree or disagree with the statement. All right?
Okay.
And if you
do my best.
Have any questions, just let me know. All right. Cereal is a soup.
No, not a chance.
No? Okay.
It's a disgusting thought.
You can't even fathom.
I can't fathom it. No.
Cereal being a soup.
No, I'm not a big soup guy by any means, but there's no way.
Truckers are time travelers.
They can be.
Right.
They can be, absolutely.
All right.
There's a few that I have personally, and it's, you'll check on them early in the day, and by the end of the day, you'll wonder how they got there.
Right.
How did you pull that off with everything you had to go through and the hours that you have? There's a couple of them that definitely have that ring to them for sure.
There's some rumors out there that you could make a strong case that truckers are time travelers.
Correct.
And especially when you're crossing time zones.
100%.
You can
that makes even more sense.
You can, jump back an hour, jump forward an hour.
Absolutely.
So there's a strong case for that. All right. Truck stops should have Michelin star restaurants.
Yes.
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. For everything that those folks go through day in and day out, that's the least they could have.
Yeah.
100%.
Up it up a little bit.
Treat our folks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. Hot dog is a sandwich.
No. Incorrect.
All right. I have another one, similar one. Hot dog is technically a taco.
No. No.
All right.
I can't see it.
You're a hard no on the taco hot dog there. Okay.
Yeah.
Truckers should get diplomas in Tetris.
In Tetris, definitely. Yes. The things they have to back into, the things they have to do completely blind. is unbelievable to me. There's no way I could ever jump in there and with any amount of training do a quarter of what they end up doing.
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah. Tetris is a great word for it, for sure.
No, it is crazy.
Yes.
Some of those backlots are pretty crazy.
I completely agree.
Yeah. The cookie of the Oreo is better than the cream.
Definitely.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a big Oreo guy per se, but I'm a texture guy, and I definitely prefer crunchy over something that's not.
Yeah. Some people like the mega cream. You know, you got the double stuff, you got the mega stuff.
Right. And good on you if that's what floats your boat. I'm not hating on it, but there's no way I could.
Yeah. You couldn't do it. Plain water has a taste.
Definitely.
You agree?
Yeah.
The water can have different tastes.
Yeah.
Do you have a
Mr.
favorite?
Nussbaum got these Dasanis. Of course, they've got a better taste than some of the others.
Is Dasani the best water out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great since I've been here. You know, we just had a water fountain at my old place, so it definitely beats the pants off of that for sure.
Cool.
But yeah, you can taste, and especially as you get into like the country. My wife grew up in the country in El Paso, and their water was definitely different than what it can be. So, but as far as bottled water goes, if you put 5 like brands next to each other, maybe there's not that big a difference.
Right.
But I think you can definitely tell Aquafina is a little bit different. I feel like Aquafina is kind of oily. That's super off base and very specific.
So interesting.
It's little things that you notice.
Yeah, like my wife was saying, so for people that live in town, like Bloomington water tastes different from normal water. Like
Isn't
the town
that
of
wild?
normal. So apparently, I'm not too convinced about that yet. But I think I'm more on the side of water doesn't have a taste.
It's
but
all the same.
I do think I'm starting to see a little bit of different towns can have different flavored water.
You can make a small argument for it.
Right.
Nothing that you'd want to take to the grave by any means.
Yeah, for sure. So that's it for today. Thanks for doing some of that fun segment there.
Thank you.
Doing some of the hot takes. That was fun.
I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate you and just your spirit of counting others more significant than yourself. I mean, it seems like you really, look at other people and count them. In spirit of humility, you look at them, like more significant than yourself. And
definitely, yeah. Everyone has a wonderful value to them. You just got to find it.
Yeah, that's really sweet. And being able to do that, that's a great gift. So I appreciate you a lot. Thanks for doing this.
Appreciate that. Thank
you. It's
a
lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey everyone, this is Caleb from Nussbaum Recruiting, and I'd love to answer any questions you have about driving with us. Give us a call at 309-268-1199 or visit nussbaumjobs.com. Hope to talk to you soon. You've been listening to Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation. If you're enjoying our content, please leave us a review. Your reviews help us spread the word about these important topics and invite more people into the conversation. You can rate and review us on your podcast app or visit us online at terminalexchange.org. New episodes arrive every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow Nussbaum on your favorite social media platforms and be the first to know when new episodes are released. Thanks for listening. Until next time, own every moment and stay purpose-driven.